What's going on, guys and gals? CheFPV, Troy, 500 below, zero ground FPV, all that stuff, right? And really, all that stuff is why I'm coming to you today and kind of the basis of the conversation that I want to try to quickly have. I've actually done this conversation a couple times. I've had it in the past, and I've actually posted it about a year ago or so. But I think that it's kind of a reoccurring kind of discussion that we all need to continue to have. Being this is one sided and this is really just me kind of having a monologue about this, I want to say that I come to you in this line of thinking and in this conversation and ask that you just don't have any preconceived ideas about what what I'm trying to say. Just open your mind and consider what I'm saying and ask some questions of yourself. Whether you agree 100% or not, I'll find it hard for anyone to truly tell me or themselves that there's not some truth and some reality that needs to be considered in what I'm going to discuss. And so, what are we going to discuss? We're going to discuss, like the title says, flying in public spaces, parks. I'm not going to get into rules and laws necessarily, but we are going to discuss kind of the difference between, a rule and a regulation slash law. But I want to start by saying I enjoy not making videos to make videos, and I enjoy sharing my opinion, not to be known as a guy that shares his opinions. I think it is super important that people speak up and people ask questions and people ask others to think critically about themselves and what they're doing, not because they're wrong necessarily, but because everyone can always be better and everyone can always probably find a better way to get what they want accomplished than the initial reactionary response. And so, what does that mean, really? And so, there's been lots of posts lately, and the one that really sparked me to turn the camera on today was one in a phantom group. But there have been a lot of posts in a lot of different groups, especially, like the Rotor Riots and the mini quad clubs, about new signs being put up everywhere. And people like to post the signs and then rant about how they don't agree with it and how it's absurd and it's illegal for them to try to tell us where we can fly, or a guy with a boat putting a boat in at a resort. Why is it okay for him to launch a boat, but I can't launch a drone from the resort? Um, I appreciate that people find these signs and that they find them in whatever way, whether positive, negative. But I appreciate that it causes them to react and to make statements and ask questions. But it's not always great to just make a crazy, oh, this is my thought statement. And it's not always, great to necessarily be so angry that you make a post that is not representative really of what the community's thoughts or feelings should be in order to basically find a solution to it. So people want to say, well, I'm going to rip this sign down, or don't worry about the sign, take off from outside the park. Well, that's fine, I guess, if that's really what you want to do. But that is all negative, and that is all basically trying to circumvent the rule or the law in whatever case it may be. And so with these signs, there are rules, and park rules are codified through your city. So when you go to a local park in your city, there are signage that say these are rules, and then there are ordinances sometimes attached to those. Those ordinances are codified laws that the city is decided to enforce under certain rules that are being placed at facilities. So it is well within a city's right to say that within a park you cannot operate a radio controlled vehicle of any type. It is also okay for them to say you can't fly a drone because that's a radio controlled operated device. But they can, whatever they want to say you can't do, they can codify and make rulings at city council meetings and town hall meetings to say we will give a ticket under this codified offense if you break this rule. That is all legal. That's how municipalities regulate at a local level. They are able to do so. It has nothing to do with airspace. They are not saying that that taking off within the park is actually the rule. If you fly your drone or operate your radio controlled vehicle within the space of the park, not airspace. Airspace is technically from the ground up. However, the FAA will not regulate airspace necessarily from 0 to 25 feet below the tree line in a park where if manned helicopters need to land, yes, it's regulated airspace. But if you're simply flying a mini drone or even a phantom at low levels within a park space, you are actually in the park with your drone. Now, operating above the tree lines, it gets a little hazy and stuff, and I'm not going to get into that. So I'm speaking of if you go to a park and it says don't fly your drone here, you're not supposed to fly within the park, flying over it and taking some video as you fly over it from, taking off outside. In theory, I suppose wouldn't be a big deal. But mini quads don't fly above the tree lines taking video or, scanning by. So there's just a really big difference there. And the part that you need to think about as an individual is a park is a place to go and enjoy the outdoors. It is a place to go and be one with nature. It's one to go and relax and rest and have your lunch. It is one to go run or walk or exercise in all kinds of ways. These are ways that people have used parks for hundreds of years. Shoot, maybe longer, right? So the idea that we get these technological advances that allow us to have drones and that we think that, oh, well, it's a public park and I pay my taxes and I deserve and I have the right to go to that park and use it with my drone, you don't. You really don't. Now, there are certain parks that you can, absolutely, in certain areas. We have a park here in Round Rock that we fly at our AMA field. It's a city-owned park. We have an AMA field designated there. Anybody can actually go and get a flying spot designated using the proper resources. So if you see that sign and you really want to do something, what you need to do is get off your butt and get down to the city hall meetings and find out why the sign is there. Who made the decisions? Don't get angry, don't yell, don't scream and talk about how great drones are. Figure out what the problems are, what the anti-drone sentiment is. And then let's develop a solution to where the next meeting we can show why that might not be true. We validate their concerns, but we show them the benefits and that the positives are actually there, not these negatives. Now what you can do is probably build yourself a specific area or get yourself some rules specific to what you're wanting to do. That is how when something new happens or something new comes out that you feel you have the right to use or do, that's how you actually get things accomplished. You don't just inherently get this entitlement of a right because drones are sellable and you can buy one, that now that transfers your rights to be able to fly wherever the heck you want. And again, the airspace thing, look, there is a clear difference of flying again above tree lines and taking drone video and flying your mini drone in a park. I mean, I fly in some local parks, but I am never too comfortable, and the only ones that I am actually comfortable with are the ones that I know very well, and the ones that even then, if I show up and I see somebody get out of their car to go run or jog, or I see somebody hanging out like they're about to go do something, I pack my stuff up and I go, or I sit around and I wait and I go, hey, are they about to leave or what's the deal? Or I go talk to them. Hey guys, I'm going to go fly my mini drones around this little park area. I'm going to stay in this area here and I'm going to have a really good orientation. I have this guy watching me. He's my spotter. So, you know, if he sees anybody coming near, he's going to let me know and we'll bounce out. But I don't want you to get worried. You know, we'll be in this area. Feel free to do your thing over here. That is, you know, being a proper citizen and a park goer and a friend and a human to everybody around you, right? So I get it. I love flying. I love flying in public spaces. I am not, you know, going to tell you don't fly where you want to fly. I'm going to tell you that have accountability, have respect, and know that you're in a public space. And if something goes wrong, no matter what, and you're in a public space like that, you are in the wrong. I don't care. I mean, if a lady jogs out in front of you and you clip her, dude, that's your fault. That's you. That's not the jogger. And she has every right to be upset if that were to happen, obviously. But that's not, you know, that's not what we're talking about. So, you know, lady that's been jogging at the park or guy that's been jogging at the park for 10 years at that same park at that same time, they have a little bit of a right to be a little frustrated or a little not understanding of why you think you deserve to be there at 8:30 in the morning with your little drone zipping around. You know, for 20 years, that's how they get their mind right on the way to work. Now you pop in and you're doing your thing. And I mean, again, I get it, but I don't know. I just wanted to put it out there, talk about it. I think more top pilots, more guys that are posting video out there of flying in public and doing public flying things just need to straight up say, look, do what you do, fly what you fly. Be respectful, be a good human, be a good friend, and just know that, dude, if something happens, you have the accountability. That's it. And so when somebody questions that flight or posts something, go, hey, I wouldn't have flew there. Just tell them, you know what? That's fine. It's not the best place to fly, and I wouldn't recommend it. Everybody flying the way that I did there. I maybe do this. Explain it. Don't get defensive. We question, we ask questions, we teach, we educate. We need to know. We need to ask questions to get answers. Throw an attitude back when people ask questions and genuinely want to know, and you might, you know, again, the perception is one thing. Explain it. Be real about it. Fly safe, fly smart, just fly. Peace.